In a telephone interview on Thursday, President Trump referred to California Senator and Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris as a monster and a communist when giving his opinion on her performance at the VP debate. So what does the lamestream media do the following day after he says that? They do what they do best. They spin the words of our president into an unwanted claim of sexism and racism. They literally put that up there. Trump calls Harris a monster, reviving a pattern. You saw it right there. Sexism, racism, that's what they do. The headlines around these comments are totally bogus. I'm having a lot of trouble understanding how calling someone a communist because of what they've put out there, okay, or a monster is sexist or racist. Would the left care if the president made these comments about Joe Biden? I think not. Now, I really wanted to go off on this fake news that came out primarily from CNN like all day yesterday. But I thought for a minute, as a man, this is not my place. So I wanted to get a female's point of view. Then I saw a post on Facebook that was made by one of our young millennial female producers here at One America News. So I want to read exactly what this young, proud conservative woman wrote, because I believe it is a very true characterization of what's going on and how this fake news and the narratives are pushed. So here we go. These are her words, not mine. Now that I work in the media and see this BS every day from the lamestream media and how they are literally cultivating yet another narrative to push out to the sheep who believe it, that our president is now sexist. To add to their list of lies for calling Kamala Harris what she is, a monster, the face of evil, as a woman and as a feminist, I am not offended one bit by our president calling a person what they are. How is this sexist? If anything, it's the opposite. Let me explain. I would say that the true sexists are the ones who assume a woman can't take heat and be held accountable just like a man is. When we want equality, right? That means equality in everything, not just when it's convenient or to win an argument. You can't claim as a woman that you want to be treated equal to a man, but then when under pressure and taking heat for your actions, and when someone is trying to hold you accountable, you pull out the sexist card, as if you're now weak and a fragile woman who can't handle the same treatment as a man. So now, a man can't call a woman out on what she is because she's a woman? That is sexist. CNN is absolutely despicable and has no shame whatsoever. President Trump has called others out, men and women both. Joe Biden has too. Joe Biden called the President of the United States a clown on the debate stage just over a week ago. Is the lamestream media really stooping to this level because they have nothing else to bash our president with? Joe Biden has a long history of making blatant racist statements and even co-authored the 1994 crime bill. Where is the mainstream media on this? Dead silence. Kamala Harris is responsible for incarcerating black people for 3 to 4 times longer than a white person for nonviolent drug offenses. Where are you, mainstream media? Where is the exposure on that? It blows my mind that there is concrete evidence, a track record of evidence for both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, as well as the words coming straight out of their mouths. Concrete evidence and facts. Yet the media doesn't give these things the time of day. They're too busy hammering our president 24/7 like there is no other news to talk about, calling him a white supremacist, racist, and now once again a sexist, based on nothing but opinion, because there is no evidence. Our president has condemned white supremacy. This is what you get, though, when you watch CNN. You get a little bit of opinion, they say are facts, a clipped soundbite taken out of context, and a whole lot of exaggeration, assumptions, and downright lies to brew up a narrative to serve to we the people. It's up to us to think for ourselves, as this is the enemy we are now all up against. We the people deserve better than this. As a man, now again, I want to pause right there. Those were the comments of a young female producer here at our network. I want to wrap that up by saying, as a man, it's not my place to say what a woman can or cannot be called. Okay? And that's why I wanted to read those words from a young 20-something millennial, female, and to continue on what's going on with the media and how they try to portray our president as a sexist and a racist. I want to welcome my next guest, Harmeet Dhillon. Harmeet's been on the show before. She heads up Indian Women for Trump, and I bet she has an opinion about all of this. Welcome to the show again. Harmeet, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. It's Women for Trump.
Women for Trump. Thank you. And I know you have 3 or 4 different titles. You do a lot of great work supporting the president, conservative values, and having a voice for women and for Indian women in California and across the nation. So you just heard me read that little rant from a female producer here at our network. What's your take on CNN primarily being like the really focal point of this argument, where they are saying calling Kamala a communist and a monster makes him racist and sexist?
Well, the racist and sexist thing has been their trope throughout, and it was clear from her demeanor and her attack dogs in the lapdog media that the whole sexist, I'm being mansplained to, was a planned talking point from before. But unfortunately, Mike Pence is such a gentleman and polite and Midwestern and kind that it just is clearly a fake narrative. Now, I completely agree with what your young producer said. As a professional woman who's now in my 28th year of practicing law, yes, there are people who are talking down to you sometimes, and there are people who are sexist. But if you're a big girl, you can hold your own, and you don't need a bunch of flunkies in the press to come to your aid like a damsel in distress. And Kamala Harris is even older than I am, and she's been the Attorney General, and yeah, nobody's talking down to her. She simply needs to be bailed out because she's shallow and she's wrong.
I found it interesting, too, that the only thing they could do is go attack the president after that debate because of what you just said, which was so perfectly pointed out. Mr. Pence, our vice president, never cracked. He never attacked. He never was rude. He never made any types of remarks that could be misconstrued as sexist. He was a perfect gentleman. He nailed her with facts. And so the only thing the left had to do was try to rip Trump and talk about a fly. They had nothing else to go on after that debate because it was purely a crushing experience for Miss Harris. He owned her on that debate stage.
He really did, and that's because he's a man of substance, a governor, and somebody who's, because he's playing the vice president role, we haven't seen that much of him in public life. But boy, did he was terrific. And what viewers and voters are going to find out if they are unfortunate to see more of Kamala Harris is that she's a mile wide and very, very shallow and has flip-flopped, as I've written in the Wall Street Journal, on just about every major criminal justice issue that she's encountered in her career. So you can't trust her. I mean, you could even trust a Bernie Sanders, a far-left progressive, more than you can trust her because she shifts with the wind. She's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, exactly. That was my take right after in our post-debate coverage, that she flip-flops and everything. You're right. You can believe Bernie because he's so far to the left and he doesn't skew from that. She has flip-flopped on whether or not they want to stack the Supreme Court, add more Senate seats with bringing in Washington, D.C. as a state and adding 1 to 2 more seats, flip-flopping on whether or not her and Biden are for the Green Deal. There is so much flip-flopping coming out of her mouth. I don't know where she stands on anything. Somebody else that I really don't trust anything that comes out of her mouth would be Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Let's talk about what she said yesterday and what she said today. Hopefully you heard the story, a couple stories right before you came on air with us about her talking about the 25th Amendment and now trying to get a congressional commission going to, as she backpedaled today, this isn't about President Trump. This is about in the future, if there is a president that doesn't have a good mental stability and we would need to remove him from office, let's get this going now. 25 and a half days before the election, but has nothing to do with our president. Your feelings on Miss Pelosi's backpedaling today after making those ridiculous comments yesterday?
Well, as I was watching her press conference today, I kept thinking, why is her nose exposed when she's wearing this mask? I was kind of transfixed by that. She, even after the scandal over her illicit hairdo in San Francisco when it was illegal, she still hasn't learned that lesson. But what's really interesting is, like, what are the implications of backpedaling? The implications of backpedaling are, well, when we win the White House and it's Joe Biden, we're going to be able to, kind of shove him out of the way and replace him. So, look, this is a pathetic coup by the, superannuated, outdated member of Congress there from my home district in San Francisco. The Constitution provides 4 different provisions in Article 25, the Amendment 25 concerning this issue. And the 4th one, which is what they're trying to beef up here, has never been used because we've been able to handle transitions of power peacefully, medical situations according to the book. There's no need to vary from that. And this is just partisan posturing It's a terrible idea to tinker with the Constitution. And if anybody were to do it, I certainly wouldn't trust Nancy Pelosi or the Democrats right now, who've proven that they can't be trusted to safeguard our institutions in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly. Okay, so coming up on Monday, and this will be my final one to you, the SCOTUS pick. We are going to see Judge Barrett up there getting grilled by senators. We, of course, have some concerns because some of the Republican senators now have come down with COVID. The vote won't come for a couple of weeks, but the hearings do begin. We haven't heard too much from the left hammering away, trying to chip away at her, I think, stellar reputation and background. Your feelings on how she's going to be treated compared to past nominees?
Well, this is an interesting question. You might think that based on Kavanaugh, it's just going to ratchet down and get even worse. I don't think so. I think that the Democrats, including Kamala Harris, were called out for their appalling and despicable performance. They even turned off squishy Republicans like Lindsey Graham by their performance. And so I think what they're going to do here is take a different tack, a political tack, use stalling mechanisms or what have you. Because in the 3 years that Judge Barrett, hopefully future Justice Barrett, has been on the Court of Appeals, she's had a very good track record. She hasn't done anything extreme. In fact, in one case, she actually went along with rejection of a challenge to a lockdown measure. And so I think they're just going to try to play out the clock. But for the hearings, they can have hearings in judiciary with even one person. They can take evidence with one person. There are a lot of tools in Mitch McConnell's toolbox. He is a master of parliamentary procedure. And if he says it can get done, he'll get it done.
Hopefully he's got some arrows left in his quiver, to use a Nancy Pelosi stupid phrase. Anyway, Harmeet Dhillon, I'll get this right, co-chair of Women for Trump and Indian Voices for Trump, along with the RNC's National Committee Chairwoman for the state of California. Thank you so much for joining Real America. I'm sure we'll need you again real soon for your voice.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right, when we return to Real America, a millennial conservative activist and the co-founder, you know this guy, of Turning Point, Charlie Kirk, is joining us. Don't go away.